Hi, I'm Monica Stamper with Orenda Technologies, and today I'm here with Skip Phillips from Questar Pools, and I'm going to let Skip introduce himself.
Hi, she's right. I'm Skip Phillips from Questar Pools, and also the co-founder of Genesis and an ambassador for the National Swimming Pool Foundation.
So Skip, tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get involved in the pool industry?
Well, when I was growing up, my dad was a calibration technician on the Atlas missile guidance systems. And he connects with my stepmom's dad, who owned a tool company that made precision measuring instruments for aerospace primarily. So anytime someone needed an accurate diameter measurement to a thousandth of an inch, this measuring tape would provide that. So it was used on with NASA and BOEING and GE and all the turbine manufacturers, and I grew up doing that.
Wow.
So when my dad bought the service company, he gave me an option, and he bought this pool service company. He says, "Would you like to go try to clean your grandmother's pool?" And I said, "Well, I've never done that before." And so I did it, and I didn't blow anything up, and nobody got hurt. So he thought I was a candidate to be able to run that company. For me, to be able to be in cutoffs and driving around a little truck instead of being in a temperature-controlled room breathing lacquer thinner, that was a step up for me. But I remember going to him in 1979, telling him I was going to design and build pools, and he says, "Well, don't you have to know something about that?" And I said, "Well, apparently not, because as near as I can tell, you can buy components that are completely unrelated to the job description. You can undersize everything. Mechanically, it really shouldn't function, and then build a structure with no information on whether it's going to really work or not. And if somebody else that actually knows what they're doing did the design, then you can pretend it's yours and you can get an award for that."
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, that was just a fact. So over the years, became more involved in the trade association, became president of the old APSB, which was NSPI at that time, and I think that was 93, and I was the youngest person to ever hold that position. And then when the Robb Report, which is the Bible of conspicuous consumption, chose me to be in the Club 21 with some of the key people in the world as innovators and leaders of those industries, I got chosen for pools, along with Gulfstream and Ferrari and Cartier and those folks. So that was the jump start to actually move ahead and force me to do things differently. Because once you get that accolade, now you're playing in a bigger league.
How do you see the industry changing? I mean, do you see that will improve?
Well, you know, we recognized, myself and some like-minded people, we recognized early on that we really needed to change the education process in the pool and spa industry. And it's a top-down world. So that's why we created Genesis, you know, to be able to address the design and construction flaws that we saw. So that has been a fundamental change in this industry, and it's set a benchmark for that part of the industry. But unfortunately, the service folks and the subcontractors, whether they be tile people or plasterers or whatever the case may be, they also can be the unfortunate recipients of the bad construction and design that occurred before they ever got in the picture. So manufacturers as well,
Absolutely.
You know, where they're constantly tapped for bad programs and forced to extorted into paying for those, and bad warranties, and get stiff for lunch to boot. You know, that's not a good situation to be in.
No.
So I think that we've made monumental strides in the certification of the design and construction process, and we've got a great working relationship now with the National Swimming Pool Foundation, which brings a lot of credibility and horsepower from that. We have the only third-party approved education in the world. So with that comes a responsibility. So that responsibility, I think, is to address this chemical balance issue,
I agree.
which is untenable when you think about it, that you would come to a project once a week and try to add enough chemicals that hopefully 7 days later it was still going to be in decent shape. And that's the nature of the business, but it's not fair. And so that change really needs to start with twofold. One is that the design build market, which we're representative of, needs to change their philosophy of how we handle the system design. Because there's only three parts of a pool. You know, there's the structural part, there's the mechanical part, which is what we're talking about, which would include sanitation. And there's the design, rhythm, color, balance, texture, proportion. Those parts, there's only three. So if all three aren't successful, the project is a failure.
Absolutely.
So I would be willing to take the position that we need to treat the chemical automation as it currently is as a failure, because it is a correctable situation. There are companies out there that make inline monitors that will adjust and prioritize your sanitation as well as the pH. It's not perfect, but it's light years from where we are now. So within Questar, as an example, we do that on every project. But by and large, that isn't something that's happening all the time. It's treated as a commercial component.
That's exactly true.
And which is untrue. It is applicable to the residential market. So it's been difficult for this industry to really get into the hearts and minds of the buying public. They've relied on the pool contractors to market their stuff to the consumer, and that was a mistake. So I think that with luxury pools, as an example, that's the only publication in the United States that goes directly to the buying public. And I think a combination of the foundation and Genesis, as well as luxury pools and their digital marketing, I think that we would be able to promote that and gain some traction and show it from an editorial viewpoint, not an advertising, an editorial viewpoint that this is the way this really should be, and this is clearly an option.
Yeah, and that's I appreciate your time, because that's why I wanted to sit down with you, because that's our goal as well. Our goal is to get better quality water residentially, and the way we're doing it currently is very inefficient.
If we're going to develop these more technically complex vessels, we need to be able to have somebody that knows how to work on them.
Absolutely.
So what we did is we created a certification that deferred to the foundation for the CPO, which is a commercial operator course. And then we went ahead and included our construction in, because we thought that the people that were learning how to manage these pools, it'd be nice if they knew actually what went into them. But when we merged, the foundation was already working on a residential application for the CPO course. So we now have that component.
Okay.
So, but you're right. You know, it's a three-legged stool. We had two of the three legs.
The rest of the industry will start to pay attention and follow suit.
Well, that's leadership. So that parallel industry where all we share is water and the components is a fact. They're built different. They're structurally and mechanically different. They look different. So the chemical issue, you know, on what we do and how we do it is germane to that entire conversation.
Absolutely.
And when you think about it also, isn't that what the world is looking for? I mean, they're looking for credible, principled leadership. And it doesn't matter whether it's politics, it doesn't matter whether it's the church social, it doesn't matter if it happens to be the pool and spa industry. And I think that if we take that and we do the right thing, more importantly for the right reasons, because you can do the right thing for the wrong reasons.
Absolutely.
But if we do the right thing for the right reasons, that there is a not just a market for that, but there's a desire to connect with that. And I think our client base sees it, and I think the industry will see it. But it won't be immediate. And there's a saying where it doesn't matter how good you are, you won't get them all, and it doesn't matter how bad you are, you'll get some.
That's right.
So we're somewhere in the middle there. But we want to, if we're going to err, we're going to err on the side that is taking that principled leadership.
And that's the whole goal, is to make the project safer, healthier.
Yeah, keep pools safe and open.
That's right.
And we knew, actually, when I think about it, you know, I started in this business in the mid-'70s and didn't start building and designing till '79. But I knew then that the way we were doing it didn't make a lot of sense. I didn't have any basis for it. I mean, Why do we have big pumps on little pipes? You know, why do we not get soils reports and we're buying engineering off the shelf? Why are we doing any of these things? But the fact is that's the way this industry was done, and it was really heresy if you were a round earther instead of a flat earther if you didn't buy into the program. But it turns out that there's about a 10% segment of this industry that doesn't buy in.
Yeah.
And those are really the market leaders, if the truth is known. And they want to get smarter, and they want to look at things a different way. And there is a market for that. And that's where I think myself and Randy and a lot of the people that are within the Genesis and NSPF organizations, they all look at that the same way. They're not willing to keep doing it the same way.
Well, I look forward to working more closely with you guys. I think it's going to be something that we'll see coming forward, and I think it'll be a great fit. So I look forward to that, and thank you again for taking the time to sit down and talk with me.
Great. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Bye.